Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the AACUC Commitment to Change Credit Unions Unite Against Racism Friday Conversation, collaboration between AACUC and corporate partners. We're glad you're here. Please note the housekeeping rules for this afternoon's event. Now, we know that life happens and you may need to step away, take a call, or even have a conversation. So we ask that you immediately please mute the volume on your microphone and/or device, as well as stop your video. Please note these functions can be found at the bottom of your screen or your device. Now, you're important to us, so please do not forget to start your video upon return, as we are truly connected. And remember, unless you are called upon as a program participant, please keep your volume muted on your microphone or device. Now, we encourage you to engage with us throughout this afternoon with the virtual clap and chat. If you have any questions, send them in the chat or raise your virtual hand. Now, without further ado, please help me welcome AACUC's President and CEO, Ms. Renee Sadie-White.
Ooh, I like how that sounds. Thank you, Ms. Espy. Appreciate that. Oh my gosh, what a phenomenal day to have a conversation. Oh my goodness. My favorite people are on this panel, handpicked by me because they are my family. But more importantly, the support that they provide AACUC is phenomenal. And I wanted to address that. I wanted to celebrate that, especially because tomorrow is my birthday. So this is a birthday present to me, this conversation today. So without further ado, thank you. Without further ado, I want to get right into it. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that everybody gets properly introduced. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to start with Mary. Mary, tell us about yourself and how long you've been at your organization and what you do.
Okay, hi. Thanks for inviting me to be here today, Renee. I'm delighted. I'm Mary Patouk. I'm with PSCU. I actually have the honor of being the longest tenured employee at PSCU, celebrating 34 years there. My role is industry engagement. I get to work with our system partners on figuring out ways we can keep sustaining the industry. So delighted to be here.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Mary. Debbie Smith, Mrs. Smith, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Debbie Smith. I'm best known as head coach at Georgia United Credit Union. I've been affiliated with the credit union, started as an advisory board member in 1984, been a team member there for, oh goodness, more than 20 years. And it's just an honor to be here. And more importantly, Renee, it is so humbling to be able to support you and your organization for the great work that you do. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that. John Cassidy, my John, Johnny, tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Renee, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Cassidy. I'm the Director of Credit Union System Relations at TrueStage, formerly CUNA Mutual Group. And in my role, I get to lead our partnerships with all the associations at the national level, and then have a hand in some of the league partnerships we have as well. And longtime partner of AACUC, and excited to be here with you today.
Okay, John, we can't see you, so I'm gonna need you to work with Espy so we can see your pretty face, because you have on that lovely red tie and I want everybody else to see it. Bill Cheney, I was going to ready to say something, but that wouldn't be appropriate. This is G-rated. So this is my brother from another mother. Bill Cheney, tell us about yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Renee. It's so wonderful to be with you and the other panelists here and the other people participating. I am the CEO of Schools First Federal Credit Union. We're based in Southern California. We serve school employees and their family members throughout the state. We are very proud to partner with AACUC. It's been so beneficial to us as an organization and to me personally. Renee and I do go back a few decades. And so I've been working in credit unions since 1987. I've been at Schools First. It'll be, believe it or not, it'll be 10 years in June. It's just really hard for me to believe. But it's a great organization, and it's a better organization because of our partnership with AACUC. So thank you.
Oh, that was really kind. Thank you for saying that. And I remember when you went to Schools First, they were what, 14 billion, maybe 10?
We were 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they are in assets now, what? How many?
29 billion.
Woo! Look, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. Pretty impressive. All right, well, let's get
more importantly, Renee, we serve 1.4 million members. That's the number that matters. Right. That's the people that we help every day. So thank you.
That's awesome. I was driving around. This is funny. So I was driving around Southern California last week, and the Covina area, and I now know where several School First locations are, and in Alpha, they have nice ATMs. I love it. School First is everywhere in Southern California. So good job, good job. All righty. The first question for all the panelists are: what was so compelling that you decided or helped your organization to decide to partner with AACUC as a corporate partner? And let me explain what a corporate partner is. So a corporate partner, we have different levels of corporate partnership. Everybody on this call happens to be at the chairman circle level partnership. That's either in-kind donation or a monetary donation of $125,000. And so in that partnership, it helps to keep AACC sustained. It helps us to pay our bills. It helps us to pay our employees to make sure that we can have an impact in the industry. So again, thank you for your support. But on that note, why did you decide, Debbie?
I wish I had some inspirational story to say, but it was so interesting. I see my friend Mike Mercer. Hello, Mike, on the call with us today. And it was as simple as my colleague Cindy Conley coming to me and say, AACU had an office in our space, and now they no longer have an office. And I said, well, what do we need to do about that? Find her an office, find what we need to do. It was done within a day. We had an office for you. And I said, well, who is Renee and who is AACUC? She was kind enough to put a lunch together, and it was like we were this kindred spirit when we first met. And I will never forget that luncheon and what it's done for me personally, and all the incredible work she do. But the four things come to my mind is during that lunch. It was really the vision of AACU. It was the thoughtful leadership, and it was the actions and then the results of what you do. And it was as simple as just a quick conversation. And that's why we decided we're going to throw it. We're going to be 150% in and make a difference.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Mary P.
So our relationship with AACUC goes back a couple decades. Hubert Huseman, who was on your board, was also on our board. And we first got engaged with AACUC when AACUC was so instrumental in raising money for the MLK Monument in DC. So that was our real introduction to your organization way back when. And I would say the compelling reason is just to do the right thing. So our relationship has grown, Renee, over the time since you and I connected at a Filene event, network event, and then our DE class, and brought home our DE project, which was to set up the Women's Network Series through AACUC. So we did that. And then I think for us also a compelling reason to really continue to partnership was our employees. Organically, our employees had started to come to your annual meeting, and they loved it, and they brought it home to us. And then sadly, what happened with George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, really accelerated our executive leaders' sponsorship of what was happening with AACUC, because we leaned on you, you leaned on us, and you really helped us through that whole experience and have supported our BRG. And so it's been a great partnership, but it goes back a couple decades now.
Wow. Something interesting about what PSCU's leadership did before they became a corporate partner is that everybody in the C-suite in leadership became an individual member of ACC. That was so compelling. And just, it speaks to the commitment that PSCU has to the industry and to inclusion. So thank you for that. John, you're joining us back, and Lila, and looking good.
Hey, so I apologize. My computer crashed, so I'm using my personal computer, and I don't have the background loaded on it. So I had to pull a quick audible.
A beautiful visual. So the question is, what was so compelling that you decided or helped your organization to decide to partner with AACUC as a corporate partner? And that was before you guys got the chairman award.
That's correct. Yes. So before I started in this role, TrueStage has been a longtime partner with AACUC. I think many of you remember Janet McDonald, and when she retired, I took over for her. AACUC was actually my first conference in the role, as Janet's being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So no pressure as the new guy coming in to lead the partnership. And, I think there was just something so special about that being my first assignment in my new role, and getting to attend my first AACUC conference. I really just got to feel like what it meant to be part of this organization. I think just the family feel, the connections, the collaborations. it really gets back to who we are as a credit union system. We're all about helping people, and these relationships are really important. So I remember leaving that conference saying, we've got to do more with AACUC. And I was in touch with Renee shortly afterwards, like, what more can we do? And, I think on the business side, DEI has been such a huge focus at TruStage. We've really taken a very intentional approach to that when Bob Trunzo took over as our CEO. And I just think our relationship with AACUC and that partnership has really helped us get smarter and think about things we could do better as we go along on our DEI journey. So they're very complementary together. And I just attribute our partnership with AACUC to be a big part of how we've been able to advance our journey at TruStage.
All right, thank you for that, John. Bill.
Yes, Renee, thank you so much. Well, Schools First has been a corporate partner for a number of years. And let me talk a little bit about my personal journey too, Renee, if you don't mind, because we were involved when I was at Xerox Federal Credit Union many years ago in the internship program when that first launched. That was a huge benefit to our credit union back then. And then some of you may know I spent a few years at the league and at CUNA. And really it's when I got to know the organization more so. Renee and I had known each other, but with the board. So I made it a priority for CUNA to get engaged with AACUC. And I know they've continued that under Jim Nussel's leadership. But people like Bob Harvey and Hubert Huseman, who was mentioned earlier, Bert Hash, Maurice Smith, more recently, have been personal mentors of mine. So I just wanted to mention that. For Schools First, as Mary said, at her organization, the murder of George Floyd was an inflection point. Unfortunately, it took something like that, perhaps, to get the attention of how important it was. And within our organization, with our team in particular, we have 2,800 team members, and we have a very diverse workforce. As you know, Renee, for some of our key leaders, it was really important for us to get engaged. And you helped us have those difficult conversations about how people were feeling and how it was potentially impacting not just their work, but their lives. It really transformed our leadership and our organization. So it's been a big part of the last several years of our growth as an organization. So thank you.
Wow. Okay. Now, for the audience, I need you to know that I advise all of our panelists to have water and tissues because we never know when something is going to strike you and hit you in your soul or your heart. Right. Well, I was already crying before the session started. So I just want you to know if I dab my eyes, it's because I'm still a little verklempt because of all these great people on the call. This is to everybody. How has your leadership changed since partnering with AACUC? Bill, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Oh, right back at me, Renee. Well, we talk a lot about servant leadership in our organization, and being inclusive as an organization is part of that servant leadership. We talk a lot in our organization. We're here to serve and not to judge, but serving our team, which in many respects is important as serving our members, because who does that? It's the team. Means we have to understand. We talk about meeting our members where they are. We need to meet our team where they are too. And in difficult times, and there's been all sorts of issues we've had to deal with as a society since the murder of George Floyd. We haven't even quite, resolved all of the issues associated with that, but all the things that are happening in our country and happening in the world. We are unquestionably more inclusive today than we were 5 years ago. And I don't think that would have been possible without the psychological safety and the difficult conversations we were able to have by just, asking the right questions and creating a safe place for people to share their emotions and sort of get past that, understand each other as human beings so that we can better work together to deliver the world-class personal service that our members deserve. So thank you.
Thank you. No, that was excellent. Mary, what about you? How's your leadership changed since you've been involved with AACUC?
So I would say we've become that much more intentional, right? In terms of the actions. And as you mentioned, the senior leaders are all part of AACUC as members, but we have been much more intentional around our efforts, particularly around DEI, empathy, understanding, and have a lot more metrics that we're tracking and measuring. Our company is as big as we are. We have a meeting every Friday. The managers and up have a weekly service forum is what we call it. And once a month, our DEI folks report on where we are with stats. So we understand what it is we're doing and what we're trying to achieve. We've employed some technology. We've invested in technology that helps us be smarter and more intentional in talent acquisition. So it's I would say intentionality and the funds and resources to back it up are kind of top line what we've done differently. And it's because of having AACUC in the background pushing us and nudging us to be better is really how we got to where we are. So thank you to you and your team for all that you've done.
Well, Mary, thank you for being polite about the nudging. I appreciate that.
It's a Renee nudge. We all know what that means.
John Cassidy, how has your leadership changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I'm far more aware of just what's on our colleagues' minds from these conversations we've been able to have. I think it's helped me become a more inclusive leader. So thinking about, how do we better represent how we show up at events, and we go to conferences or meetings, and making sure we've got more people at the table to participate. And I think it's helped me be more inspiring as a leader too. I mean, think about the access we get to some of the biggest names in the credit union system because of these conversations. I mean, any of us listening, we get a free opportunity to learn from how these people lead so that we can emulate and take the best of what we like from their leadership style and apply it to what we do. I mean, the ability to connect our employees to AACUC. You go to one of the conferences, and I'm just so proud of the way that our employees show up when we come to these AACUC conferences. We bring a small army from TrueStage, and they bring that back with them, and it's infectious as we bring it back to the company and tell our leaders about it. More importantly, our leaders help make the decisions about who we get to partner with and at what level. And so I think just getting our employees and our leaders engaged with AACUC is another piece of leadership that I've taken away from this. And then really, I think being an advocate for AACUC. I mean, this partnership has enriched my personal and professional life in so many ways. I want it to do the same for others. So when I'm out and about meeting with credit unions, meeting with our other system partners, I tell them about the relationship we have with AACUC and encourage them. Free, no lead fees charged at all, Renee, but I encourage them. Like, if you're not engaged with AACUC, you got to go give them a try. So I think those are some of the things that I've taken personal accountability and leadership for through the partnership we have together.
Thank you, John. And that you are not kidding about the small army. I thought that you had topped yourself when 25 TrueStage people came to the St. Petersburg conference. But last year at Stone Mountain, I think you brought like close to 40 people, including the new CEO and my
two of our CEOs.
So it's amazing. It's amazing. So thank you for that. And Debbie Smith.
So I think Mary used the word that I had written when you gave me the question was intentionality. Renee, you and I've had many, many conversations about we're doing the right things. I am programmed to do the right things from a lot of things in my personal family history. But doing the right thing is not enough. You have to be intentional. And when you see the leader of the organization being intentional about what our actions are, it has trickled down through our organizations. And all our team members are all engaged in DEIB. We are all engaged in waiting lists, getting on waiting lists to volunteer with AACU, being on waiting lists to go to the DEI, be on a waiting list and saying, can we have another person at the cultural exchange? It has just infiltrated our entire organization. It gives us an opportunity to have the right conversations, be bold enough, even when we're uncomfortable, we're okay being uncomfortable. And that's part of being the leader of the organization, to set that tone. And it just, when we talk about giving this feeling inside about what we're doing, it is the right thing, but it is the right thing because we're doing it intentionally. And so we have implemented multi-year DEI programs. We have seen the results of those. In fact, I know some of you are aware that Georgia United was just recently recognized in the Atlanta area by the Atlanta Business Chronicle of an outstanding diversity within an organization. And I think about Renee, we've really had a solid relationship. I think maybe for 3 years, maybe. I think we're on our 4th year, maybe. And the difference that I've seen from me personally and from our team. And our team is bold enough when they are in partnership with your team to say, I need help. I need help in diversity for myself personally. Our senior vice president of people services is hearing impaired. So when she came to the conference, she said, would you consider having a translator there for me so that I can hear the speakers and really get the full benefit of the program? Last year in Stone Mountain, she arrived and there was an interpreter for her. So all of this works together in concert, and it's just an incredible. I can't even put it into words, quite frankly. It's something you have to feel. We had a team member that showed up at the conference last year that says, I keep hearing about AACUC. I want to experience. He's an African-American male. He comes into this room and he sees all these professionals that he says look like me. He said, I had no idea that when you talk about this is really what it is. You can't package that. You can't buy that feeling. You just have to be there to experience. So again, Renee, thank you.
Now, I just noticed this, and so this is really weird, right? So I am the CEO of the African American Credit Coalition, and I when people say they don't see color, I just recognize that all of y'all are white. So clearly I don't see color. However, but this is not one of the questions that I've given you, but this is when it's brought up in my spirit, because I want the people who are watching this to know what it feels like as a non-Black person to be at our conference. And so 3 of you have been to our conference, and I'd like for you to share. So I'm gonna start with Mary and then Debbie. You can spend a little bit more time on what you personally felt like when you were at the conference, but John, you'll end that up. And Bill, that means that you got to come to the conference next year. Okay.
I'll be there next year, but I've been before, Renee. I've been a speaker at the conference before.
Oh, okay. Well, look, maybe that was Renee's by year.
Back in the day.
Then go ahead, Bill. Go ahead while you got the mic there.
All right, Bill, you can start.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just correcting the record,
Yeah.
But
tell us what it was like back in the day. Tell us what it was like back in the day.
It's such a wonderful group of people. I mean, I mentioned some of the names before. I mean, just friends of mine. Look, I've been doing this credit union thing, as I said before, since 1987. Well, I say that to our young team members at the credit union. I try to meet with all of our new employees, and I can see the looks in their eyes. That's before I was born. That's okay. But no, I mean, it is different, I will say. And it also makes me notice. I'll talk about myself, not on others, but when I go to credit union conferences, it's better than it used to be, but it's still not as diverse as it should be. There's a lot of old white guys that look like me when you go to some of these meetings. And there's more diversity now than there used to be, but we can do a lot better. There's certainly more women now leading large credit unions. There's more people of color leading credit unions and our other organizations, associations, companies like TrueStage, et cetera. But it's awesome that we have these organizations, and it's great, so great, Renee, that you and AACUC are not just supporting your own organization, but you're supporting NELCUP and Seed Pride and these other and the Credit Union Women's Leadership, and it takes a village. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, Mary, what you got?
So yeah, I mean, it's great to have the shoe on the other foot, right? To understand what it's like to be the salt in the room of pepper, if we want to put it that way, right? So it's I mean, the conference itself is just incredibly engaging, right? You come away just wanting to be a better human. I mean, that really is the feel. It's not necessarily in-depth experience on AI or payments or some specific credit union thing, but we all realize what's the specific thing behind us is being a better human. And really, when I think about what's happening in the country and the demographics, credit unions need to do a better job at attracting a more diverse group of members, because guess what? The country is not 60% white, but the membership of credit unions are across the state of the US anyway. So it's really a good way for all of us to get engaged with what is the right way to do things. But I think the feeling I come away with, Renee, from your conferences is just elated. I don't know. You do such a great job at engaging the younger professionals in the process, whether they want to or not, whether they are volunteered or voluntold, and it makes a difference. It gives them a chance to try and gain some confidence. So we use you as a role model, whether you know it or not. We're looking to you of how your organization is run, and we're all so much better for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Debbie, any further thoughts about our conference, your experience in particular?
So, I don't see color either. I've worked with so many diverse groups of people throughout the international community, and I don't see color, but what I did see and feel was the love in the room. And I've always felt like that I was a supporter of DEI, but when I walked away from that conference, I realized I had become an advocate rather than a supporter. And that's what you have encouraged and challenged me to do. And the one highlight of my career, I've been in this a long time, but a highlight on the career when I felt and saw Dave Matthews stand and say, you can't just be prepared and ready to walk into the door when an opportunity arises. You have to have an advocate. And she said, I see you back there, Debbie Smith. I see you, and you are my advocate. I felt like I had arrived at what you have been challenging me to do, is that we have to be an advocate. We can't do the things because it's the right thing to do. We can't do it just because it's intentional. We have to do it because we're an advocate of change. And that's what AACU has done for me and for so many that you have reached, is that we've become an advocate of DEI, and that's how you impact change. So I just love you for it. I just cannot tell you personally what it's meant to me.
Thank you. John Cassidy, what you got for me, baby?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's abundantly clear when you walk into your first AACUC conference, everyone thereafter, it's family, right? Everybody there it feels like you're with family when you're at AACUC events, because we're all there to learn from each other, to bond, to get together. And I'll tell you, my first one, I had a moment that has always stuck with me. This was back in Charlotte in 2019. There was the Inspirational Men's Breakfast. And I was invited. I think it was Harold Holmes invited me. He's like, John, you got to come. We all got to meet you. You're the new guy with AACUC. And I walked into that breakfast. I was the only white guy at that breakfast. And I never felt out of place for a second in there. Everybody came up and introduced themselves and said, I'm really so looking forward to working with you. And that was like that moment I had right when I started, that, wow, this organization is really special. They wanted to learn about me. They wanted to learn about my family, learn about my background. And I wanted to learn from them too. And that just, I think maybe that was just good fortune. I was able to participate in that breakfast at my very first conference. And, every time I go back, it's business, but it's not the type of content that you see and hear when you're at other conferences. It's things that make you better, not only as a professional, but as a person. And, so I just love the topics, and we have a little fun, right? Like you have the karaoke and the young professionals night. There's all these other networking events built in that you don't get at some of the other events that you go to. And I think it's just such a huge differentiator. Like when I look at my travel budget and the calendar every year, like there's no, I might go to AACUC. I will go to AACUC. How do I get there? And I encourage my staff to do the same.
Wow. I can already see several testimonials that are going to go on the website. Danya's probably going, yes, that one was a good one. Yes, that one was a good one. So thank you all for that unsolicited testimonials, if you don't mind. I hopefully SB had you sign a little document saying that you're okay with us, your likeness and all of that. Alrighty, next question. Oh my goodness. How have you benefited personally from the partnership? How have you benefited personally from the partnership? Let's start with Mary.
Friendship. Let's start there, Renee. You're right there. So I'll leave it at that. But our tight friendship has been a personal benefit. The networking is just icing on the cake. So finding like-minded people is great. And obviously, Renee, you helped me with my hair many, many years ago and keeping it better condition. So that's that. I got to call out that too. But I think it's just it's the ability to try new things too. So and not be afraid to get into more difficult conversations and know that even if the conversations are difficult, we can find some answers together. So, but I would leave it with friendships. That's what I lead with when I think of you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Debbie, what about you?
I think I would use the word family. It feels more family than it does friendship. And I would encourage anyone that has been to the conference. Number one, if you haven't been to the conference, put it in your budget and you must attend a conference. You can feel what we're talking about. But if you've gone to the conference, you need to go to the wrap-up session. It was the most inspirational part of the conference for me, is that it's really people are bearing their souls, and how did this change you, and how did it impact you, and how are you going to change? And it's just so impactful that I think, Renee, somebody walked away and made the comment, this is a conference that you don't think with your mind, but you feel with your heart, and it changes your life.
Well, I always tell people that when you come to an AACC conference, your life will never be the same. And I mean that. I don't say it from a position of bragging about it. I say it from a real personal truth about it. I think that people attend our conference and they do feel the love and respect. And certainly if you're African American, to see these incredible professionals and these young people executing this conference can only be heartwarming and amazing. I have to give credit to the legacy board members of AACUC, who, when I was a young professional doing some dumb stuff, stayed on me, guided me. Bill mentioned Bert J. Hatch Jr., Bob Harvey, yes, Maurice Smith, Pete Creer, all these people, and let me not forget the women, right? Shirley Jenkins, Sheila Montgomery, Helen Godfrey Smith, Rita Haynes, these people who continue to pour into me. And if you had told me 20 years ago or 25 years ago when I started with AACC that I would be the president and CEO of this organization, I would have told you no, because the first thing I said was, that name sounds militant and I'm not going to be associated with that. That's going to mess up my brand. And here I am today, believing so strongly in the African American Credit Union Coalition, not just for Black people, but as some of you have said, for our industry. And I do believe that the Commitment to Change Credit Unions United Against Racism initiative that Marvin York named will be something that will help change and eradicate racism for the United States of America. Having said that, I think I have two more people to have a comment about what they've personally gotten from their partnership with AACC. I'm going to go to Bill.
Yes, thank you. Wow. I mean, this is a very powerful conversation, Renee. Personally, it's the relationships made me a better leader. I think in many respects, a better person. It's brought our organization closer together, as I've said before, which I benefit from personally. We have a number of leaders, as you know, Renee, in our organization that are involved both in the West Coast chapter and in your national and international efforts. Kevin Martin, our EVP, is one who's been, passionately involved, and he keeps me on top of things as it relates to AACC. Ashley, there's others in the organization, but it's improved our relationship. It's just, I don't know. I like what Mary said about friendship. I like what Debbie said about family. That's certainly true. It's just been, it's transformed our organization in ways that are very powerful. And I benefit from that personally as a CEO. And talking to some people in our organization, including Kevin, about this conversation we were going to have. There are people in our organization today who probably wouldn't be there if we hadn't solidified and sort of doubled down on this partnership in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. That says a lot right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
John, what have you personally for you?
Yeah, so I did have friendship and family in my notes, but I'd also like to say, Renee, your title's President and CEO of AACUC. You're far more than that to this movement in this industry. The friendship you and I have established is probably one of the biggest benefits I've gotten. I mean, the way that you just want to elevate the people around you, the heart you have. I mean, Renee's a legend with my kids, by the way. My kids are always asking me about Miss Renee. Anytime I travel to an event, they're like, "Oh, is Miss Renee there?" So that's just the type of impact that you have on people. I think about just the size of your heart. I mean, and that holds true. I mean, that is part of the AACUC brand now. And I think about the connections that I've made as being affiliated with this organization. Many of you on this call right now, like the friendships and partnerships I've established with all of you, that happened because we all are part of this organization together. And it's really been something that's just enriched my life, both personally and professionally. And I think about SB reaching out. I was really humbled when I was asked to be a speaker at the DEI Leadership Academy for financial professionals. Like, why would you want me to come speak? And I think even though I'm tabbed as the speaker, through the dialogue we have in those sessions, I get to learn more. So just all of the opportunities I have to engage with AACUC and everybody that's a part of it. It really just helps me learn and grow pretty much on a daily basis.
That was pretty powerful, y'all. Pretty powerful. And thank you for all of that. I would be remiss if I didn't point out a few things. So the World Council of Credit Unions Foundation Board never had an African American, and as they eloquently said, you have to have an advocate in the room. And I didn't just have one advocate, I had several advocates on the World Council when Brian Branch was leading the organization. Bill Cheney is the chair of the foundation board. Susan Mitchell was one of the officers. And those three together kind of just told me I was going to be on that board and invited me to be on it. And it is one of my biggest joys, and I'm really proud of that. And that again wouldn't have happened if these people hadn't known who I was. And so thank you, Bill, for that. And it certainly elevated the AACUC and me personally. So I'm quite grateful. The fact that Mike Mercer gave us our first office when he was the league president is phenomenal. And he and I we are dear friends. And yes, Mike, we can go to dinner tomorrow night for my birthday. Thank you very much. And but he gave us an office, and now, and I say this often, AACUC is anointed. So look at God. And now the office that I sat in is next to the office that I'm sitting in now, because I'm sitting in Mike Mercer's old office with half of what the Georgia League used to have, because Debbie Smith said, you can't go raising millions of dollars and being in just one little teeny tiny office. So you can have this whole space. And they redecorated it and all of that. We now have signs on the windows and signage outside that says African American Credit Union Coalition. That is huge. It's just huge. And so my heart, you talk about my big heart, John, it's because all this goodness that the industry is pouring into AACUC, the resources, our chapter officers are giving of their time, and you presidents are allowing them to participate on our boards and in our organization. And so for me, that's just huge. Then one of the next questions that I have is, what are you most proud of that your organization has helped AACUC to achieve? I'm going to start with Debbie Smith.
Oh my goodness, this is just such a big question. I don't even know where to start to say first, congratulations on what you've done, but first and foremost, it is awareness and providing safe spaces where people can have difficult conversations and grow. Because that's, as I said earlier, that's how you impact change. And to me, that's really all that in a nutshell. But I think about when you gave your acceptance speech of the Anchor Award at the Herb Wagner, it it solidified everything of the work that you and your team and your supporters have done. I can't even put it into words, to be quite honest, what you have achieved and what you're most proud of. But you mentioned the office, and I think about all the work that you do. You needed space, and I had an opportunity to have dinner with your board the other night, and thank you so much for the invitation. But the joy that I saw around that room and the camaraderie of being able to go to their own space and be able to have a room together that is yours, that has your name on the front door, that it gives you, it solidifies the place in where you are, and it allows you to have opportunity to continue your good works. They're just, I could go on, I could get on a soapbox, and we've talked before. I could just go hours and talk about relationship and what you've done. But I think to build awareness and give people safe places to change and do things better is by far the most important.
Thank you. What about you, Mary?
Well, I think awareness of what you're doing in the industry. I mean, we're so proud to see what's happened, and the fact that credit unions are rallying around what you do, right? That is you're making all of us better humans, and the fact that folks are doing this intentionally, I think. And they're looking to the AACUC for support and getting intentional about DEI efforts. It's really part of the sustainability for credit unions going forward. So I think just seeing your membership numbers grow, seeing the numbers of your staff grow. Renee, when I met you, you were a one-man marching band, doing it all. So, you have a team of people helping now to make that much bigger impact. And every industry recognition, which seems they keep rolling in every year, they keep coming to you, I think is validation of what you're doing. And, I think we're very lucky in the credit union industry to have such a strong, powerful group leading the way. And the fact that you're able to bring us along has just been terrific. So.
Wow. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. John, what about you? What are you most proud of that your organization has helped us to achieve? Besides record numbers of employees attending our conference.
I mean, AACUC's really emerged as one of the most powerful organizations in the credit union system, bringing us together to live what we all stand for as a movement. And, we're proud that we've been a part of this ride for probably 2 decades now, almost since the beginning. So we've been, let's say, riding shotgun or somewhere along the ride with AACUC as you've just continued to grow and build over particularly the last several years. And, I think the fact that you've been a great partner for us at TrueStage as we've built our own DEI journey. I don't think we could be where we are today without the advice and the partnership we've had with you. And, I think we're a big brand in the credit union space, as CUNA Mutual and now as TrueStage. And I think having our two organizations linked together is a really powerful thing for not just each of our organizations, but for the system as a whole. I mean, we're a lot smarter about how we can now serve African-American consumers because of some of the things that we've learned from the AACUC, from our DEI team, our multicultural business strategy that we're really digging deeper in so that we can get smarter about how we serve, this emerging growth opportunity for credit unions as the population changes. And, I think just the emergence of AACUC and how you've grown and us being there all along the way, I think last year was a great culmination of that, right? You celebrated 25 years. And I remember we were having lunch together when you met my wife and when we were, I think, out in Las Vegas. You're like, I really want TrueStage to be my signature sponsor. It's the 25th anniversary to commemorate what we've done together. And for us, that was a no-brainer. And, to celebrate 25 years, get over 500 plus people there, to have our brand be a part of that, it was really special to us.
Thank you for that, John. Bill, what about you? What are you most proud of that your organization has helped AACC to achieve?
Yeah, thank you, Renee. Let me first say thank you for your service on the World Credit Union Foundation because you've helped transform that organization and the impact that we're having around the world. Thank you. Our organization is proud to be a part of AACUC, and I mentioned before our team members who are part of your leadership nationally and on the West Coast. but we've received so much more than we've given. I mean, I guess that's what a partnership's all about. But I think the West Coast chapter has benefited from our organization's involvement. We've helped lead the organization, and we actively participate in it. So I think that's helped AACUC increase its impact. And at the national level, I know we've been involved in some of your strategic planning, the strategic dialogue, including the strategy that was implemented, I believe, talking to my team, in 2018. And I'm gonna look down here so I get it right: to increase diversity and inclusion, awareness, dialogue, and I love this word, comfort, across the credit union movement. You've done that. You're having that impact, and we're just happy to be a small part of it. Thank you.
Renee, may I speak up again, please? I didn't want to steal everybody's thunder, because I could talk about and share so much about AACUC. But the one thing that I do want to touch on and make a special reference is your young professional. When I look at the young professionals that you have mentored and coached, I don't know if everybody on the call realizes that when you mentor a young professional, it's not that you mentor them in the credit union space, but you require that they be an entrepreneur and start a business of their own. So I think about what that will snowball and trickle down into the future of our credit union movement. It is developing these young professionals in more than in a whole person, not just in the credit union. But I just wanted to give that shout out, because I just don't think we can end this call without talking about your commitment to the young professionals, which is the future of our credit union movement.
Okay, that was pretty powerful. I'm sitting here like verklempt, because it's a lot. And some of you stated that we've grown really quickly. AACUC, I've always been proud of AACUC, and we were me with some very dedicated volunteers. And I can only do, as far as young professionals are concerned, I can only do what I was shown. And the legacy board members of AACUC, I think I started with them when I was 39 years old. I'll be 63 tomorrow. And at 39, they allowed me to, when I complained, they don't have a logo, they don't have a PO box, they don't have a phone number, they don't have a website. And I just, young and dumb, and was talking to CEOs as if I could offer them something. But they let me, and these were Michael Hill's words, do your thing. And I did my thing with my company, Setting Training Productions, which is why I believe that everybody should have an alternate source of income, because you never know when one is going to dry up. So that's just how I think about stuff. But I think about where we are now. We talked about the volunteers helping with all the conference stuff, with the running of the organization and all of that. And now we have a stellar employees, a superstar team of people who really get it done for AACUC and for all of you. We're and this is going to be a shameless plug to my good friend Tony Kitt. He is the CEO of Plexity, also our West Coast treasurer, chapter treasurer. But their company is doing our back office accounting. They're doing our HR and our IT. We were able, because of your support, we are able to hire that outside service so that it keeps us top notch. And I can't say enough good things about Plexity and the work that they're doing with us. And that was a recommendation from Market Filene and Lucy Ito. So all these people wanting to make sure that AACUC stands up and continues is phenomenal. So I don't have enough words. I don't have enough gifts to give all of you. And as I talk to you all, it's also me talking to all of our corporate partners and thanking not just our corporate partners, but our membership for your support. All of the things that all of you do to make us better and to make sure that we're sustainable. That's really, really huge. And I'm going to do something that we never ever actually do. We've got 11 minutes and I'm going to do free fall, which I don't do. I like to be highly scripted a little bit. And so with that, I'm going to allow our audience to ask a couple of questions. So SB, are there any questions anybody's already asked and I'm not aware of? And if you have them, if you could just tell them what they are.
Well, there are some happy birthdays in the chat, as well as other people sharing the conference and their experience with it, how it's transformational. So definitely be on the lookout for the 2024 conference.
Yeah, that's going to be in Atlanta, August 13th through the 17th. That's a shameless plug. I do want to talk about very quickly why we held the 25th annual conference at Stone Mountain in July. And that was a transformational experience. One of the reasons that I thought that would be the perfect place is the grounds of Stone Mountain Park are just beautiful. So just being in touch with nature, for one, to be secluded. And we were very intentional about making sure that people couldn't really leave because it was kind of secluded. But we did have food trucks and so people had lots of fun. That's why all the activities. But at Stone Mountain, in Stone Mountain, Georgia, the Ku Klux Klan was alive and well, and that's a mountain full of stone. And that mountain looks like Mount Rushmore, and it doesn't have presidents, it has Confederate generals on it. And there's lots of controversy here in Georgia about that Stone Mountain and that carving. I don't have a problem with it. I say if you have a problem, add some more up there. You want to put Martin Luther King up there? You want to put Senator Warnock up there? Just add them up there. We don't need to take it down. But that's my own personal opinion. But the Ku Klux Klan used to hang and lynch Black people, usually Black men, on the top of that mountain. And what I wanted us to do in that moment at that time was to heal from that. And my board of directors, my dream team board of directors, looked at me sideways when I said, "You want to go?" They said, "You want to go to Stone Mountain, Renee? Are you sure?" I'm like, yeah. And they put their faith in me. But I tell you, what happened at Stone Mountain was just magical. It was an amazing experience. I loved seeing all of the young people. We had 560 people at the top of one of our functions, but most importantly, so normally when you go to an AACUC conference, you see a sprinkling of salt, as Mary called it. I call it Black coffee. So I used to have so AACUC conferences used to be very, very Black coffee. Well, in St. Petersburg, I saw that we had a little cream in our coffee. Well, I'm telling you right now, the July conference, there was so much cream. It was wonderful. It was good to see. It was good to see that kind of a mix. And so when people come to AACUC, they're concerned about the African American Praying Coalition. The name does sound a little exclusive. We're not an exclusive organization. We're an inclusive organization. And I love to quote Lucy Ito. She will tell you that AACUC is the most inclusive organization in the credit union system. But that's because all of you are doing what we do as credit union professionals. We are walking the talk of people helping people. And so, having said that, I'm going to let us off early, 8 minutes early. So you guys can have 8 minutes back. We have concluded all of our questions. It's a holiday weekend. I'm going on vacation. Yes, I'm actually going on vacation. It's not 2 weeks, Bill. It's only going to be 1 week, but I'm going to go on vacation. I can't thank everybody enough, unless Danya has some burning things that she wants to say to the group. She's saying no.
I got something, Renee.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
How about we all sing happy birthday to Renee while we're all together on the call?
Oh, goodness.
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that works. But I'll tell you what I'll do. Happy birthday to me. How about that?
Okay.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Renee.
Have a wonderful day.
Guys, I appreciate
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
So
Take care.
don't get off. So
Oh, that's right.
Panelists and AACUC team members, please stay on. Any board members who are in the call, please stay on. Everybody have a happy holiday season and please be safe. Don't eat too much food. Bye,
Thank you.
Cindy.